Hey y'all, it's me, JD. Well, now here about a month ago, a lifelong friend of mine, old Earl Spivey, passed away. And well, his wife Irene called me up to give me the news, and she said that Earl had just recently bought a bull, and well, she was gonna shut down the farm. She was getting up in years there, and told me, she says, well, if you want this bull, you can have him. And I says, well, I got me a barn and got me a stable and quite a bit of fenced in land. I says, I reckon it wouldn't be no harm in having him, so sure, I'll get him. As a couple days after the funeral, I hooked the trailer up and drove on out there. Well, turns out this ain't no ordinary bull. This was one of them top of the bloodline pedigree bulls. I mean, she even had papers on this thing. And Irene told me, she says, you know, JD, she says, you could stud this bull out, make a little bit of money, certainly enough to feed him and take care of him. You might even make a little money on the side. And I says, well, I says, you know, that might not be a bad idea. So I took the bull on to the house and called up the newspaper, put an ad in the newspaper. Well, a few days later, sure enough, the phone rang, and this feller called. He's about 3 counties over, says he was interested in my services. So anyway, we worked out a deal, and so I loaded the bull up on the trailer and drove him on out there and dropped him off for a few days. I told the old feller, I says, well, just call me up in a few days, let me know how things are going. Well, he called me up and he says, I think something's wrong with this bull. He says, this bull he ain't paying no attention to my cows whatsoever. He says, I don't believe this is gonna work out. And I says, well, I says, you might give him a few more days. He got to get used to his new surroundings, and let him get used to your cows and whatnot. I think things are going to work out. He says, well, okay, well, I'll call you in a couple days then. So he called me up a few days later, and he says, look here. He says, you need to come pick this bull up. He said, this bull ain't doing nothing. He says, I'm boarding him, I'm feeding him, I'm taking care of him. He said, this bull ain't worth nothing. He said, you need to just come on out here and pick him up. Well, like I said, he's about 3 counties over. That's quite a drive. And I says, well, look here, old feller. I says, how about you just call your vet? I said, have the vet come out and look at the bull. I said, well, see, maybe he can straighten some things out. And I says, I'll take care of whatever the vet bill costs. He says, okay, well, I'll call you tomorrow evening. I said, all right. So he called me the next evening. He says, JD, he says, it's a miracle. He says, you won't believe it. He says, the bull's done ran around. He said he done impregnated all my cows. He's running around like he's crazy, acting like he's trying to tear the barbed wire fence down to get to the cows in my neighbor's pasture. And I says, well, that's great. I says, well, what did the veterinarian give him? The old feller says, well, I ain't sure, but it kind of tastes like licorice. Well, now, if you like my joke, I'd like for you to give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share it on Facebook. Check out my YouTube channel. I got lots of jokes and parodies there, and if you like what you see, well, you might want to subscribe to my channel. And if you're one of them offended little snowflakes, well, always remember this. There is no I in team, but there is a you in suck. So pave the rainforest, save the Jews, nuke the whales, sit down, shut up, and quit ruining my life. Until next time, y'all keep them straight up there.